All right, so we are back with you, and it is time for us to conduct our interview with Mr. Kenton Chance. He's a journalist as well as ambassador designate of SVG to Taiwan. And we are going to be talking from journalist to diplomat, the dawn of a new era. Kenton, good morning. You are definitely no stranger to the studios of WEFM, so good morning.
Good morning, Roleza. Good morning, Maka.
Good morning.
Good morning to your listeners. A good day wherever you are across the globe.
All right, and how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
Yes.
Soaking and everything?
Soaking.
Soaking as in you're okay,
Did he say soaking or soaking in?
So I don't even know. Kenton, let's go ahead.
Soak it in.
Nah, man, I don't think there's anything to soak in.
Soaking?
Yeah,
okay.
I don't think so.
You're gonna be soaking in from the 1st of March.
Well, I don't think so. That's not my view of this at all.
Yeah?
No, not at all.
All right. So first off, let's just congratulate you on your appointment as the designated ambassador of SVG to Taiwan. All right.
Thank you.
So I want to get an idea of how did you feel the first occasion that you were told that you were considered for this? What was your feeling like in relation to that?
Well, to be honest with you, before I go there, I want to thank the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for giving me this opportunity to serve my country in this regard. And this is how I look at it. I look at this as service to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I look at it as continued service to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because I look at my career as a journalist as serving my country, keeping people informed. But if I'm to be brutally honest, I wasn't surprised. I was just going about my business in Kingston. I went to cover court a Friday. I was walking. I always like to describe myself as walking with my glasses and my backpack, because most people see me when I'm walking. I have my glasses and my backpack. And I got a call from a particular person. I was invited to a meeting. And well, when I got the call, the person said, "Oh, can you please come to my office and see me sometime?" So I said, when? I said, now or some other time. I said, well, whenever you get time. And they said, well, it's not anything bad. It's something good, actually. What I say, well, I know it's not anything bad. I know who I am.
You ain't do anything.
I don't have to worry about that. And then because I was in Kingston, I didn't have anything else to do for the day. I went and I was asked, and I told them, well, I would think about it. I would discuss it with my wife and seek advice from people. And I would make a decision. And I did that. And then I asked 3 people, and all 3 of them, without fail, told me that I should take it. They essentially presented an argument of why the ways in which this opportunity could benefit me and benefit St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And, after further thinking and some praying and whatever, I decided to serve St. Vincent again in this regard.
I'm curious, why did you say it didn't come as a surprise to you? It came as a surprise to me. Why didn't it come as a surprise to
you? I think the people who know me well enough, they're more surprised that I accepted rather than I was asked.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not surprised that I was asked.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So I know from a post that you made a few years ago, you said being fired from Searchlight was maybe one of the best days of your life. I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember the exact quote, right? Or exactly what you said. What have been your accomplishments, or what were your accomplishments before that point? And what are your accomplishments after that point that have led you to this current position?
Well, the thing is, I
kind of trying to get a build up as to why you are qualified to be in this position.
Well, 20 years ago, I left St. Vincent and the Grenadines to under a scholarship from the government of Taiwan to read for a university degree. I studied 1 year of Mandarin Chinese and then read for a university degree. I completed my Bachelor of Arts with first place honors. In Taiwan, they don't give you like second class and they do, but I topped the program. So that's why I said I describe it as with first place honors. And it's really interesting because in Taiwan, they focus a lot on equity rather than just equality. So while at the university, there's, in principle, early graduation. When I approached my dean, she says, in this society, you come in with your friends and you leave with your friends. It is there, but nobody ever really does it. Nobody graduates early. But she said there's a program called 4+1. The criteria are pretty stringent. In addition to your academic performance, there's something in Taiwanese university called a conduct grade that has to do with your class participation, your attendance, and all of these things. So your conduct grade, my conduct grade had to be, I think, 85 and above, and my academic performance had to be a certain level. So I met the criteria and I started my master's degree in the fourth year of my undergrad studies. And then I did an additional year and I gained a master's in international affairs. So that's why I call it 4+1, 4 years of a bachelor's plus 1 year in, but at some point you're working on your bachelor's and your master's at the same time. So I came back to St. Vincent with those qualifications. I applied for a job at Searchlight. I was given the job. 6 months in, I was fired. But
It was only 6 months?
Only 6 months. But I would say that 2 weeks before I was fired, I actually contemplated resigning the job. And somebody talked me out of it. And I stayed. I was fired. I don't think that was in any way to my detriment. I hold absolutely no hard feelings against Searchlight. In fact, I think if I had stayed at Searchlight with the level of my training, and if I were allowed to function in a particular way, that I would, Searchlight would have been in a much better place than it is today. I would say, however, in all fairness, that in hindsight, coming back to St. Vincent, there was an element of reverse culture shock involved that I probably did not recognize at the point, and maybe I probably didn't recognize it, and the people at Searchlight did not know how to handle. So, I mean, but at the end of the day, it worked well for me. It all turned out well for me. I don't know how they feel about it, but I would always be grateful for Searchlight because my career in journalism started because of Searchlight. So anybody who thinks I'm a crappy journalist or anybody who thinks I'm a good journalist, you should blame or praise Searchlight, because I was well on my way to becoming a teacher until Searchlight came to community college, advertised this program that they were doing. And several of us from our literatures and English class went. And then after there came the young Vincentian, and the cabinet secretary now, Miss Barnard, who was our lecturer, went with us to the Vincentian. We had an agreement. And when I graduated, I didn't have to write an application for a job. I got a job at the Vincentian. Have I ever? Well, yes, I did. I did apply for the job.
I think I remember you from Vincentian, though.
Yes,
initially,
I initially cut my teeth at the Vincentian. So thanks very much to Miss Desiree Richards for that. So that's a qualification that I had. I had not updated my CV for like 10 years. I realized that as part of the formalities for my appointment, I had to submit my CV to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And I began to update it, and then I was struggling to remember like some of the training that I had gone through. And I even forgot that I had edited a book in my university. So I mean, some people think I'm arrogant and I'm boastful and whatever, but a lot of the things that I do, I don't really mention them at all. So outside of that, right, I'm pretty well traveled. I've traveled to quite a few countries, interacted with a lot of people from around the world, interacted with international organizations. So I think all of these things and my persona outside of journalism, because unfortunately that's the only one that people know, I think it puts me in good stead to be able to fulfill this role. But I want the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to know that I am not looking at this at all as, Kenton got a big job, and this for me is service, and it is a vote of confidence that the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has put in me to say, we want you to manage this very important relationship for us at this very critical juncture. And that is how I look at it. I have lived my life in the public's eye, put in a lot of people under a lot of scrutiny. And I have decided to subject myself to that scrutiny in a context in which I can't defend myself as I used to before. So I mean, yeah, that's how I look at it, truthfully.
Jomo Thomas in a social media post said SVG loses one of the best journalists. What do you say to that?
Well, I would say that Jomo has been a true mentor to me. He's somebody who I can go to for advice. We don't always agree, and he's criticized me very strongly publicly and privately before, but I think he genuinely has my interest at heart. I was sued, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying this. There was a case. I just took the claims form to him, and he's never asked me how much money I make. He's never told me how much it costs to defend me. He defended me all the way up to the Court of Appeal, including when I had to place a bond and all of that. So Jomo is somebody for whom I have a lot of love and respect. As a journalist, I try to avoid hyperbole, but if Jomo says so, then I guess it's so.
All right, so let's stay on the part of you and journalism, right? So Eyewitness News started as a school-based project, if I remember correctly, right? And you were one of the, if not the leading person or the only person to come out with online news articles at that time. I think you were the first in that media landscape.
You mean in St. Vincent?
In St. Vincent, yes.
Well, Jerry George had something before, but it was short-lived. I think it was called SVG Today. But I was the one who, did it on a consistent basis and,
Okay. So how does it feel to have to let go? Because in your statement, in the article of your appointment, you said that you would make an announcement. I'm not sure if you can make the announcement today, but you said that you're going to make an announcement with regards to what's going to be the future of Eyewitness News, right? But how does it feel to have to let go of the child that you gave birth to in terms of possibly handing over the reins of it to someone else? Are you sure that you're going to be able to let go fully?
Well, people might be surprised. I think I can. I mean, in my private conversations with people over the last few years, I had been describing journalism as a drug that I'm trying to kick, a drug habit that I'm trying to kick. Because, it was like an addiction. It's just something that you really like to do. You find a lot of fulfillment in it. But I know I am a lot more than... I'm a pretty decent journalist, if I could say so myself, but I know that I'm a lot more than that. I remember once I went to a school event and a gentleman asked to take a picture with me, and he was saying, oh, when I become such and such, I can't remember what he said. He's a teacher. He said, when I become such and such, you write this story. And I said to myself, not to him, I said, who tells you that I'm going to be in journalism at that point?
I think we all made the assumption that you would be Kenton.
well, I mean, but the thing is, right, if I'm involved in something, I give it my all. I'm not a halfway person at all. Once I decide to do something, I give it my all. I believe very strongly in press freedom. I am now, I consider myself now a public servant in a politically sensitive role. I started a news entity. It would be totally inappropriate for me to attempt to exercise control over that entity, because it is going to lose whatever credibility it has. So to the extent that it continues, the public must be satisfied that this is not being used as the political arm of any entity, because Eyewitness News is not and has not, and once I am involved, will never become a political arm or political tool of anybody or anything, and not just political, including for corporate St. Vincent. Eyewitness News is about people. People can say whatever they want about Eyewitness News, but I always remember on Christmas Day 2013, my first year as a married man, I left my wife at home in a house without electricity, without water. I did not have a car. I walked down to Pembroke after the storm. Mr. Hathaway, who became Commissioner of Police, he gave me a ride. And when I got there and I saw what was taking place, I said, no, the public needs to know immediately what is going on in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I took out my cell phone and I called NBC Radio. And I gave them a report which they broadcast in their news Christmas morning 2013. In 2021, when state media and private media was packing up and running away, it was Kenton Chance who was out in the field reporting on the eruption of La Sofia volcano. I can't even remember the number of people whose stories I have written, but those are the stories that I think that have made the difference, that have brought me to the attention of people, where people believe that if I have a story to tell, Eyewitness News and Kenton Chance is the person to go to. It's not the stories about politics that everybody try to paint you as partisan. Or my journalism, I try to make it about people.
So what do you say to persons who regard you as being anti-ULP in terms of the stories that were written, well, during the previous administration?
That's their right to feel that way. If they feel that way, that's their right. I mean, I know who I am. I know what my motivation is. Journalism is about holding the holders of power to account. For the 23 years that I've been a journalist, it so happens that the ULP was in office. I held them to account. I held the NDP to account.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I'm not even sure how some people in the NDP feel about me. One time, one prominent member said, well, the general consensus is that you can't be trusted. But I say, well, I don't want them to trust me. I just want them to respect my work as a journalist.
Okay.
If the position was offered under the previous administration, you'd have taken it?
But you see, when something is offered to you, right, you have to think about not just what is offered, but the motivation behind what is offered. What I would say to you, right, it's not the first time that I've had a conversation with an administration in Simis and the Grenadines about diplomatic postings. That is all that I would say on that question. Yeah.
But at this time, though, what is the push factor that has caused you to make this change in your career path? What was there, like a single point? I know that you said journalism became an addiction for you, and maybe you wanted to wean yourself off of this addiction. But what was that single push factor for you? No.
Well, the thing is that on March 18th, I turned 45 years old. And, I've been doing one thing for like 3/4 of a century. And, well, for one, my understanding is, let me not talk about that. But people seem to think that I am well positioned to fill this role. And I think while a lot of people would have their say, that I will disappoint a lot of people if I don't do it. I really think I would disappoint a lot of people if I don't do it, including a lot of our students in Taiwan.
What about yourself, though? Do you think you would disappoint yourself? Because it seems like you are up for something new.
Well, one of the reasons why I stayed in journalism, because every day I get up, I don't know what challenge I'm going to face. I am not like the kind of paper pusher kind of person. I like challenges. And I mean, this is it's a serious challenge. I don't want anybody to just, think you look at an ambassador, and I have interacted with a lot of ambassadors. It's a very sensitive position where you have to be on your P's and your Q's, and it's not what I think a lot of people are thinking of it. Okay. I am not taking this lightly at all.
Okay. All right. So listeners, just to note that we will open the phone lines in maybe like in about 10 minutes for there to be some interaction with Kenton, all right? For those of you who may wish to pose a question or even congratulate him, the phone lines will be open around 8:40, all right? In the meantime, you can also send your questions to the WhatsApp. Number to call is, to call and to message 457-9997. All right, Kenton, what do you think is the most misunderstood thing about you?
I think too many people, I don't blame them because as a journalist, I have a particular persona. Too many people think I'm not approachable and then I'm just harsh and serious all the time. And the minute they interact with me for a while, they realize, oh, no, it's not like that. And then people just make assumptions. People don't ask questions. They just, somebody messaged me after this announcement and said, hey, congratulations. And then they said, oh, I wish I had said hello to you when you sat next to me on that plane. So I asked, I took an international trip recently, so I had 3 legs. So I asked them, well, on which leg were you sitting next to me? And they said from Barbados to St. Vincent. But interestingly, I was sitting on the plane, and there was a child next. Maybe she was probably around 12 or something like that, sitting next to me. And as a regular traveler, I realized that she was very nervous, and she kept looking back. So when I looked around, I saw somebody who resembled her. So I asked her, I said, "Is she your sister?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Would you prefer to sit next to her?" She said, "Yes." And I mean, it's understandable. I don't know if she's traveled before, but just the atmosphere in an aircraft could be intimidating for some people. So I said to the young lady, I said, would you like to switch seats so that you can sit next to your sister? I mean, she gave her sister a little, rough, but she did. I'm sure when I sat next to the person, I said hello, because generally when I sit to somebody on the plane, just typical West Indian, I might not engage in conversation, especially traveling for so many hours. I'm tired. And I don't know, some people probably just look at me as this, whatever they see, but I'm not that. I'm a very, very, very humble person from very, very humble beginnings. I think I've learned to walk with kings, but keep the common touch. So I mean, maybe one of these is I really should put my story down in writing. I really should. It's probably one of the stories I should tell. So that's probably one of the most misunderstood things about me.
Okay, I would say though that I think what has helped maybe persons to recognize maybe that you're not so serious is certain posts that you would make on social media, right? Where we see the comical, humorous, witty side of you coming out. So we realize that, all right, the Kenton in the street with the serious faces, that's not how Kenton always is.
A friend of mine told me I should do stand-up comedy.
Yeah, I think you should. You're very witty with your responses and all of that. So it's good for us to be able to see that other side of you, because even in this new position that you're taking up, you have to be personable, right?
Indeed.
So persons also need to know, okay, well, this is not the most serious ambassador in the world.
Look, I know how to defend people. I think the most public one was the one with Marksman. I mean, that could have gone south very easily. And now Marksman and I are friends. He was antagonistic to me, and very much so. And I mean, I think I know how to handle myself well. Just give me a fair chance and you will see.
Okay, then what's going to become of Eyewitness News going forward?
Well, the plan is for Eyewitness News to continue to operate as an entity independent of me. I'm in the process of putting together a team. Of course, we know that transitions can be difficult, and sometimes there would be some observable differences, but that is my hope. If that does not work out, I am not opposed to selling. So anybody who would want to, or maybe, opening it up to investors or people to buy shares or what have you. There's somebody else who's been involved for a very long time at Eyewitness News, Ovid Burke. He doesn't get mentioned a lot, but I really want to thank Ovid for his contribution, because, I mean, Ovid is a technical guy. He's multi-talented. He makes sure that Eyewitness News functions as it should function. So I really want to thank him. A lot of time people focus on me, but he's there. There are other people who I'm not sure who would want me to call their name on radio, who've, performed various roles. And I want to thank you. I think I should mention this one publicly. Janine James, she's done a lot of proofreading for me. Janine has become like a mentor to me. She's like a mother to me. For me, it's always a comforting feeling when you call an older adult and they refer to you as like, "Oh, yes, my son," or something. So we have that kind of relationship. I'm happy that I have people in my life who I can go to and get genuine advice, who can say, "Oh no, Kenton, you're wrong. This is not the good thing to do." So I'm grateful for that. But also, I would say the Vincentian public also has to decide whether or not they want Eyewitness News, because people make a lot of assumptions about Eyewitness News and how much money Kenton makes because they see Kenton traveling and all of that. But I'd let people know, right? I have been subsidizing Eyewitness News for all of its existence, including when I was a student, using my scholarship money to buy Skype credit and all of that. And even now, I continue to do it. So if people really want Eyewitness News to continue, don't ignore the donate button. It's not there for decoration. And for corporates in Vincent, support us with your advertising. That's how we'll be able to continue. Because I would tell you, I would not ask anybody to use their own personal resources to subsidize eyewitnesses in the way that I have done. So whoever comes on board, we have to be able to pay them, what they should be paid or something close to what they should be paid.
I would say though, and it's maybe one of those situations where the person who started the business, we look at it as just being one person, one entity, right? So I know that you're saying that there are persons who have been contributing to Eyewitness News in different capacities, but I am not sure. And that's why I said I was surprised when you took the position or when you accepted the position, because I see Eyewitness News and Kenton Chance as one and the same. And I'm not sure. This is, of course, no disrespect. I'm not trying to put down anybody else who has contributed to it. But when persons have an issue in Vinci and they want it highlighted, they say, call Kenton. You don't even have to ask who Kenton. You automatically know it's Kenton Chance, right? So we look at you as being one and the same. What can you probably say to people like myself in that if Eyewitness News does continue, you do hand it over, that we can rest assured that we are going to get reliable, credible information, as well as we can still say, let me go to Eyewitness News to highlight this.
Well, one of the persons who I'm hoping could take a lead, on the weekend we had a frank conversation, and the person was saying to me, I said, look, your boots are big boots to fill. But what I would say, right, Jamali Jack is somebody, we have a pretty good relationship going back to all the days in Taiwan. And I remember he's a big fan of Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. And I remember in one conversation, he was saying something or the other about, I think Steve Jobs said that he doesn't want to be the next one body, but the first. So I didn't want to be the next whoever. I wanted to be the first Kenton Chance. And whoever is coming after me should not try to be the next Kenton Chance. You should try to be the first of who you are, so that Eyewitness News could be, you can say, well, oh, this was the Kenton Chance era, and this is the era of these other people. Because if you're just trying to copy everybody else, then you're just robbing the world of yourself.
Okay. All right. So we're going to open the phone lines in a little bit, but let me ask this other question in the interim. So some persons, once they've given a diplomatic post, they tend to become involved in active partisan politics at some point, right? Do you possibly see yourself going down this road in the future? Is this something that you have given any sort of thought to?
If you had asked me 5 years ago if I'd be an ambassador, I'd probably tell you no. Mm-hmm. So what I would say, it is not in my contemplation, but because time, seasons, and people change, I don't know if that would happen. So I'm not going to say I'm ruling it out completely, but it's not something that, I'm not going to go to Taiwan. Well, my appointment is a political appointment. Everybody knows that. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines appointed me because they have confidence in me to execute its foreign policy as regards Taiwan. That's why I was appointed. But I am not going to Taiwan as a partisan person. My role involves various responsibilities, including, very importantly, to Vincentians in Taiwan, most of whom are students. And I'm not saying that this is not the case, but I'm just saying that when I go to Taiwan and I take up this responsibility, those students must know that they can come to the embassy of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the Republic of China on Taiwan and know that they will be treated as a Vincentian. End of story.
Okay. All right. So another question to you, though. What are your general current thoughts on the role of journalists in SVG and the whole media landscape as a whole?
It might be ironic for me to say this, but to be honest with you, I'm scared. The news media in St. Vincent is in a really, really bad way. And people might say, well, if that's the case, why are you leaving? But I can't do this forever. But some of the things that I see it really leaves a lot to be desired. Life went to work at API. Kenton has become a diplomat. Shelley Clark is dead. We have people like, Kendall Morgan around. But Kenton, I don't know if he's fully retired or whatever. So I'm hoping that people like him can provide some guidance to some of the younger folks. There are people who are operating news entities who don't really have any
training.
Yes, some it's
You're not using a man to mince your words, Kenton. Come.
No, I just hope that we need to understand what journalism is. When you fail as a journalist, like sometimes you don't write a story today and then something happened 2 weeks ago and you say, oh my gosh, if I only had written that story. So you have to look at this and know, look, my responsibility is to keep people informed. This is a democracy. People must make informed decisions, and my work is critical to that. But I'm not happy with what I see.
But I think maybe there is. So I noticed somebody was calling. If the person calls, we would take the call, right? Calls back. But I think what we are seeing, and you made a point about trained journalists, but we recognize that with social media, right? With somebody just being able to put a story up at any time, right? Something happens, they see something happens, and they can report it. How do you feel about that? But you can hold that until we hear from this caller.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Roleza, Maka, and the ambassador.
Good morning.
Mr. Ambassador, I have a question for you.
Designate.
No, Mr. Ambassador designate. Fair enough. That's a good way to describe it. What's your thoughts on China threatening all the time to invade Taiwan? How you feel about that?
I don't think, this is a foreign policy issue, and on foreign policy issues, diplomats do not express their personal opinions, at least not publicly. So, something like that, I would probably defer you to the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Fair enough. A reasonable answer. Thanks much, sir. You have a safe stay in Taiwan.
Yes, you should. You probably should have asked me that question a month ago.
Okay. Well, I want to wish you a safe stay in Taiwan. I represent us Vincentians, because I'm a Vincentian too. I represent us Vincentians down there in a way that we will be proud of what St. Vincent has to offer to the world.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, sir.
What I can tell you is that I would give it my best shot.
You sound like you would.
Indeed, I will.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Horn. All right. So we recognize that other persons were trying to call us, so you can go right ahead and call us now. Remember, then.
You have a caller. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning to everyone, Maka, Roleza, and to Kenton. Good morning to you and congratulations.
Hi, good morning. Thank you.
All right. I just want to go back to a question that was asked by Maka, and you answered it, and I will then move on to something else. Maka had asked you the question, if the position was offered by the previous administration, if you would have taken it. And I take it that you would respond by saying that this is not the first time that this topic of you being an ambassador to Taiwan coming to the forefront. You said that?
That's not what I said.
Okay, could you correct me, please?
Well, I said this is not the first time I was engaged in a discussion about diplomatic posts.
Okay, all right, good. Second question. Roleza had asked your views on the state of journalism or the media in St. Vincent, and you said words to the effect that is left to be wanting. In your position, or to be, your position to be, that you're going to be in, how do you see yourself contributing to making it better here in St. Vincent when it comes to media and potential journalists and existing journalists?
Well, a diplomat does not implement his or her own wishes and directions. A diplomat functions based on instructions. So even if I have an opinion on something, I would have to refer that opinion and sorry to use diplomatic language now, to capital. And
You have been diplomat. I was short of it, Kenton. What I'm trying to get at.
Well, the thing is, you would have to decide whether you want my answer or yours.
Proceed.
Yes, so even if I see opportunities for media or for anything else, then I would refer them to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and seek guidance and direction on how to proceed. So it's not going to be a case that because I was in journalism, I would have a particular interest and push journalism in particular. Like I said, I am being called upon to manage the relationship between St. Vincent and Taiwan on behalf of the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, based on the instructions of the government.
All right, but Kenton, if we were to be true and fair to ourselves, had you not been a journalist, it's highly unlikely that you would have been, you would have gotten this position. So I'm just only saying, it's only fair that if you would at least give an extra push to the last remaining Mohicans here who are into journalism and those who are, having interest. I'm not saying it's going to be the number one priority on your agenda, but it's something you can also, look into and make a, somewhat of a priority to help those back home.
I did not.
If you care so much about journalism and St. Vincent and the state of journalism in St. Vincent.
I did not dismiss it, All I said that if I see opportunities, I would seek advice. But what I can tell you though, in my private capacity, I am willing to give, to the extent that people think I can offer, free lessons to people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines on journalism. If you commit to helping me to arrange these things and we have mutual time, we can do it online. That is something that I'm committed to doing.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, let's take another caller. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
We good?
Good morning.
Mr. Kent, to Mr. Charles, congratulations. Question, you said you were fired from Searchlight?
Yes, I was fired from Searchlight. I think that's a matter of public knowledge. It was in 2013, though. It's quite a while ago.
What was the reason? Can you remember?
No reasons were given. None was given in the letter. None was given in the letter, and when I asked, none was given either.
Okay, was that an advantage to you? Because from listening to you,
without a doubt, I've said it repeatedly. It's one of the best things that has happened to me professionally.
Okay, so I'm under the impression that you tend to think where you would be in 3 years' time. Am I correct? Sometimes
I just go with the flow.
Okay. So, what advice would you give a person, a teenager now, who was in that particular position that you was in?
What position?
Getting fired.
Being fired. Oh.
Well, the thing is, when you get fired, the first thing is to do is not to get emotional. Because when you get emotional, you can make a lot of stupid decisions. I remember when I was fired, my mom was working next door to me. My wife, she wasn't my wife at the time, and we were just a few months away from getting married. I texted and told her I was fired and, I'm leaving. I was hounded out of the office. I left. I went next door to my mom and I told her, and I called two close friends of mine and told them that I was just fired. I went home the night and I started back Eyewitness News. A colleague messaged me from Trinidad the next day and asked me if I'm interested in working across the region. I told him no, that's why I was in St. Vincent. I wanted to stay here. So it's important to not get emotional. Sorry, let me take that out. It is important to manage your emotions because being fired, especially the manner in which I was fired, right? I edited the paper Monday night, came in as scheduled for 1 o'clock the Tuesday afternoon, and when I sat at my desk, I was called into an office and said, they wanted to see me. So I sat in the chair, I sat in the chair and I was told, this relationship is not working out. We have to let you go, which I found to be a very interesting formulation. And then I was given the letter. I attempted to take from a computer some files that I have because I was using all of my own camera. I was told, to leave and what have you. I left.
Okay, were you trained in Taiwan at the time?
Sorry?
Were you being trained in Taiwan
I was
at the time?
I was already trained. I had lived in Taiwan for 6 years and had returned to St. Vincent.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I would
Right. So
to finish answering your question, I would encourage people to manage their emotions well. Try not to say too much on social media. Seek advice from people who are mature, and think about your next steps, because being fired is not always a bad thing, especially if you know in your, I don't know why Search fired me, but I'm sure that none of them can point a finger at me and say that I did anything unethical or anything like that. To be honest with you, I think that Search was left with little or no choice but to fire me. I have a certain level of sympathy for the people who had to make the decision. I hold no ill will towards them.
all right, thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
All right, so remember the phone lines are open. The number to call is 457-9997 if you wish to speak directly with Kenton if you have any questions for him, all right? So Kenton, so we have another call. Mm-hmm. Caller, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chance.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Chance, do not worry about eyewitness news. You have been in this field for how many years? I think it's 28 years.
23.
Am I correct?
23.
23 years. And now there's a break from it. But what I would like you to do, if being interviewed again, is to say the disadvantage that we will be leaving behind. No fault of yours, because you know the journey for a journalist during the last 25 years, it wasn't easy.
When you say disadvantage, what do you mean?
Eh?
What do you mean when you say disadvantage?
Yeah, they were disadvantaged because they were fearful. And I commend you. Sometimes to wonder, you go about it without any fear. Fearless. You were just a fearless person. To me, I don't know.
Well, one of my colleagues asked me the other day, not the other day, a couple of years ago, if I was in the lodge. I mean, I don't have any particular feelings towards the lodge, but I guess maybe based on their knowledge that they thought that the lodge protects you or something. But I can tell you, I'm not in the lodge, and I'm not making any commentary about people who are in the Masonic lodge.
Yes, but you were going about it. Well, he means to say you were so protective because it's left, right, and center you are getting it, but you still move on. And you must realize that the younger one, maybe they had aspiring young ones, but they couldn't take that. They couldn't take that journey. So that is the reason why there's a void now, right? That we cannot fail, and everybody is pressuring you now to do not give up eyewitness. Where are the young ones now?
Well, the thing is, the truth is, I wish that, I mean, I am very appreciative of my advertisers and the people contributed financially to keep eyewitness news alive and afloat. But I really wish that a lot of other people had thought about that also, all these years ago,
Yes, but
maybe they would now step up to the plate. Who knows?
I don't think we ever thought you would leave, Kenton. That's the thing. We never thought you would leave.
Never miss the water to the well and dry.
Kenton, even though you go, yes, Mr. Chance, there's only one Kenton chance. So even you go, you cannot fill that void. The young one now, they have to grow like babies into it. Yeah,
well, that's how I started, That's how I started. I started as a baby in there, and you grow with time, you have to learn, well, this is some babies walk without creeping too much, so, but you have to go through the steps. You have to go through the steps. You have to learn the ropes. I know these are the days of AI, and, people know an AI story from one that is written by a human being, and people have to learn to, there's instant coffee, and there's the slow roast, the one that takes time to blend and brew. And, we have to decide which one we want and which one we're prepared to serve. I'll put it that way.
Yes. So, in closing, I'm saying, do not bother, you're not leaving a void, eh? That void should have been there as a continuation. When you step forward, in wisdom, that boy should be failed. There's no fault of yours. So that is the opinion I get in that. Why he leaving? Be depending on him. You understand?
Well,
Congratulations, Mr.
thanks.
Chan.
I wish I could have depended as much as the people who I wish I could have depended on them as much as they know that they could depend on me.
So that was critical thinking of you and your wife. Your wife always supported you.
Yeah, I want to...
So all the best in your new endeavor, sir.
Thank you so very much.
Okay,
and now that you mentioned my wife, I always say my wife is the polar opposite of me. She just wants to be left quietly alone, just do her thing. But I really want to publicly acknowledge her. I know a lot of people will be thinking, oh, Kenton getting big work and getting big salary. But I don't have any objection putting this out there. The salary I'm going to get is the one that my wife is going to give up to accompany me to Taiwan. And she's just going to get a spouse allowance. All of these things are public information. People can go in estimates and look at that. So I just want to publicly thank her for that.
Take a call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. This is Marlon Butte.
Good morning, Marlon.
Yes, Ambassador, I'm profoundly proud of the journey you've taken. You spoke about having been fired, and you've always spoken about it, and you've spoken about it in the past quite candidly, more than others who have also been fired from other jobs have ever spoken. And I think you would admit that adversity introduces a man or woman to himself.
I think so.
And that when you were fired, it was never easy. It couldn't have been easy. But you handled it well. Like the previous caller said, you would have been beaten left, right, and center from different persons and so on, depending on people's view of things, how they saw you, how they saw what you wrote, what you persevered, and you have shown that you are a man of integrity, of worth, of honesty. I mean, you've been quite stoic at times. I don't know how you were able to maintain such stoicism and that kind of thing. And then there were times when you basically responded in kind to some of your antagonists. So you're able to put on different hats depending on your mood, and in that way, you are a man for all seasons. And I really wish you well, and I really wish that young people would look at you and look at your journey. It has been a tremendous journey. You have come to this point based on your own steam, your own discipline, your own intelligence, your own ambition. Of course, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the Spears played a part, as they played a part in all of our lives, by sending you to primary school and grammar school and university and so on. But the rest was left to you, and you've done a really good job of it. And I can't think of any other person in recent memory who has so much made me proud and made others proud from what I'm hearing, based on how much you've accomplished, where you've come from, and how you've been, how you've conducted yourself over the time. And I really wish you well, and of course, Mrs. Chance. And I'm sure that I'm hoping that there'll be many more years of public service from you, whether as ambassador or in some other capacity. I'm hoping that I will still get to publish some of my pieces on, because Eyewitness News is the media house I go to
Well, what I can tell the public, I
to get
think
those
once
things
Eyewitness
done.
News, well, I would maintain ownership for Eyewitness News, at least in immediate future. And while I would not be the one in charge, editorially, our philosophy is clear. Eyewitness News should be a place for the expression of opinions and ideas. We don't really care who you are. We care about what you have to say. And once it's not defamatory, once it's not insulting, once it doesn't endanger anybody, we give you a platform. That's it.
Yes.
Simple as that.
But,
All
and you really risen the quality of journalism over the years in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Again, Ambassador.
Designate.
All the best to you.
Yeah, I got used to it.
And to Mrs. Rand.
Well, I'm an ambassador designate. You only fully become an ambassador when you present your credentials. So that's why it's ambassador designate. And the appointment takes place on the 1st of March anyway. It's more than a month away.
Well, I just happen to drop the designate part. After, Yeah.
All right. Thanks,
Have a good
Marlon.
one. Have a good one.
You to take care.
All right. So we can make provision for maybe just one more call. Just one more. So the number to call is 457-9997 as we bring this interview to a close. But Kenton, what are you looking forward to most personally and professionally from this new post?
To be honest with you, I don't know if I'm looking forward to anything personal or professional from this. It's the absolute truth. I'm just looking forward to the opportunity to serve. Some of the students there especially think that the fact that I studied in Taiwan and lived there for 6 years gives me a perspective that is closer to theirs, to probably better represent their issues. The government seems to think that the fact that I understand the cover. Yes,
Okay, so we have then. Caller, you're the last caller for this program. Morning.
Pleasant good morning, Roleza. Good morning, Maka.
Morning.
Morning.
Pleasant good morning, Kenton.
Good morning. I think I know this voice.
Yeah, retired Commissioner Charles.
Yes, I thought so.
I just want to congratulate you on your appointment as ambassador. I know you'll do a good job.
I try my best.
Basically, with the enthusiasm you put in things, I mean, I know that indeed you'll do a good job. So just be who you are and continue reaching for the top. That's my contribution.
Thank you so very much, Commissioner.
All right, thanks. All right, and I think let me see something on the here. Okay, let's say this final call.
Hello, good morning.
Hey, good morning, WEFM.
It is. Go right ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, my brother Kenton.
Oh.
That's why I said final call.
Buenos dias, embajador. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien, hermano. Y felicidades.
Muchísimas gracias.
You speak Spanish too?
Un poquito.
Oh, boy. All right.
Sí, Roleza, habla español.
Un poquito as well.
Bastante. Yeah, guys, good morning. This is Dexter Rose. Kenton,
Ambassador Dexter Rose.
I've told you this privately, and I'm proud to be able to say it publicly. I am overwhelmed by your appointments. I do know that just as you have never disappointed in the exercise of journalism, that I don't expect that you will disappoint as you go forward to serve La Patria, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As you know, I've seen you from your baby steps, but I just say you didn't call for too long. You jumped ahead, and I've seen you exercise journalism. I'd like to take the opportunity to make this point which I've been making. There are people who have cursed me before. You always defended Kenton. And I tell them I do not defend Kenton Chance. I defend the right of a journalist to exercise this noble profession. It's a profession where very often it's a lonely road. Everybody wants it to be their personal advocate and their publicist. And that is not what journalism is about. A journalist is part of what we call the fourth estate. Very important in the exercise of democracy. A journalist has to keep the government up to date on its toes. Sadly, because of our environment, we don't have the media houses are always beholden to sitting governments. I'm not talking about ULP or NDP, but governments. It has always been like this. Very often, because media houses have to depend on governments for funding, for advertising. The exercise of the profession is very often muzzled or compromised. Kenton, I was in awe of the fact that you created your own organ, which gave St. Vincent and the Grenadines an independent voice. You did it well. Congratulations again. Will you continue to work with your wife in God and in journalism and in integrity always? Go forth proudly, my brother.
Thank you so very much, Dexter.
All right.
I would say
Thanks, Mr. Rose.
Dexter has been one of my mentors, and I always remember that in my early days in journalism, he told me that principle is a lonely street. Prepare to walk it alone. He's somebody I go to whenever I need advice, and I thank him for being there for me and for holding my hand over those years.
Okay. All right, so Kenton.
Before we wrap things up, though, there's a question somebody sent here for me. As a journalist, how would you rate the first few days of the present administration and their delivery on the campaign promises?
That's a question that I'd rather not answer.
All right.
All right. So, Kenton, we'd allow you the opportunity to say some final words.
Well, I just want to thank you for this opportunity to speak directly to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I want to thank the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for allowing me to engage in this press engagement. You see, so people, in taking up these types of appointments, you give up quite a bit of your freedom. And although I'm not fully the ambassador as yet, I have to function as if I am, because everything that I do would be seen in that light. So I want to thank P.S. Peters Phillips and her team. They've been very professional, extremely professional. I want to thank the Honorable Minister also for allowing me to do this interview. I want to thank everybody who's contributed to my success in one way or the other. My church, my family, my friends, my mentors, Taiwan, St. Vincent, and everybody. And like I said, I just see this as just serving my country in another capacity. Okay. That's all there is to it.
All right. So, Kenton, as I've said before, I am going to miss you in the journalism realm. But of course, we are wishing you nothing but the very best going forward, right? I always do believe that you're not here to serve just one purpose, as you said, right? And that you should be able to explore or become all that you can be, like the U.S. Navy or Marine or whatever, whoever says it, right? But I'm quite proud of you, the steps and the journey that you've taken thus far, you've accomplished thus far. So I wish you nothing but the best. We miss you still, but yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right. So that concludes our interview this morning with Mr. Kenton Chance, Ambassador Designate of SVG on Taiwan. And it was indeed a great interview. So thank you very much for those of you who listened to us as well as who joined on the streams. All right. So we are going to head on out at this time and head directly into this morning's ECCP currency exchange rates.
Nothing else sounds as good as